Okay, good afternoon. We're about to start SHAC meeting, May 19th, 2025. We'll just go around the table, introduce ourselves for the recording. I'm Alex Salazar, Assistant Superintendent.
I'm Lisa Alphin, a nurse, RN for the district, and then I'm also a middle school and high school nurse.
Christina Campbell, Director of Curriculum Process.
Roxanne Bright, Child Nutrition Director.
Holly Thomas, parent.
Shelby Larkins, parent.
Okay, all right, so we'll go ahead and get started. The first thing that we want to be able to do is review and approve the results of the triennial assessment, and Ms. Alphin will guide us through that process.
And I kind of have both of them together.
Okay,
the
yeah, that's fine.
assessment of the policy and the wellness plan.
Yes.
Because to do one, we had to do the other. And so the first paper that you have is the policy, the local wellness policy triennial assessment and annual wellness plan assessment. It's that one. The first section of that just explains when we were doing the policy and what schools were assessed and everything like that. Section 2 is the members of the SHAC committee. Section 3 talks about how we compared, the way that we compare our policy to other model policies, and we use the WellSat tool, and then we also use the TASB model policy language, because some of our requirements in Texas are different than what some of the federal and other requirements are. So we had to use both. As we talked about, the tools changed during the assessment, so I'll go over some of that stuff as we go along. They reorganized all their sections, and how we were supposed to complete the assessment was changed as well. Section 4 on this is discussing our compliance with the policy and the progress towards our goals. Well, the goals that we have are set based off of in our policy, but we follow them with our plan. So that's why I had to put the two together. So all of the goals that are on pages 2 and 3 and 4, those are all the goals that we have set in our plan. All of them we met except for one, which was partially met. And then that one, we technically we're meeting it now at this point, but at the time that we were doing it, we hadn't fully met it at that point in time. So the next time we do it, we'll have all yeses for our goals.
So we're currently
doing
good
really well.
right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
With the goals that we have. At some point in the future, we may want to look at maybe adjusting goals.
Yes.
Or changing what we have as our objectives for those goals.
Yeah.
To make it a little bit different, and maybe we can meet it in a more substantial way rather than just
and I think as we
completed
grow,
that one thing. Yep,
the needs are going to change,
yes.
right? As we grow, continue to. Well, I guess we're already growing, but as we continue to grow quite a bit, then we'll be able to do that. And
Yep.
so probably for the next one, we'll end up having that we can look at their objectives and see what we can do there.
Yep. And then on the page 4, it discusses like when this is going to be posted to our website, which will be next. Well, oh gosh, this Friday. Sorry. And discusses who our members should be, how often we are doing our assessment for the policy, which is every 3 years, and how often we're supposed to be doing our assessment of our plan. Our next triennial assessment will be due in June of 2028 for the policy, and our plan assessments will be done every year. On the bottom of this, it discusses the different sections that the WellSat tool has. Now they have 6 sections. One is the federal requirement section. The second one is nutrition, environment, and services. The third is nutrition education. The fourth is physical education and physical activity. Fifth is employee wellness, and sixth is integration and coordination. The federal requirements before were all mixed in the different sections, and now they have just completely separated them and put them in their own section. So that was part of the stuff that was different with it. Our total comprehensive score was 73, and then our total strength score was 53. The average, though, for the nation, based off of their assessments that they have done, the WellSat tool has used, the average comprehensive score is 54, so we were above that. And then the average strength score is 33, so we were above that as well.
Nice. You hadn't even told me that.
So that was positive. Like, it's not a B, C, D type of score. It just goes based off of the strength of the policy that you have and how it's worded. So that's that first part. The second one that I have, I just gave you a copy of this just so you could see. It's it's a labeled practice assessment, 2024-2025 triennial assessment. And the only reason I gave you that one was so you could see how our answers all line up in the separate sections that they have. As you can see, the federal requirements, we got 2s, which 2 is strong score, strong wording in the policy, on all except one of our federal requirements. The one that we didn't meet was the FR 11, but that is because our state guidelines are different and they're less restrictive, and so we have more leniency on what we're able to do, so we didn't meet that one.
So what does F11 say?
That one is the one that's, does your district regulate foods and beverages served at class parties and other school celebrations in elementary schools? So Texas allows us to be able to do that.
To actually have parties and stuff to do with that?
And not regulate the food that is brought in for that.
So how do y'all feel about that?
So that's our
Do you
own.
feel like we want to be able to be more restrictive, or we want to be able to allow them to be able to have some parties and?
I mean, they're
just-
only allowed 2 parties as
Yeah.
it is, so
Yeah.
I think that it's fine. I think it's fine.
Yep, okay, good.
So that was the only one that we got a 0 for the federal requirements. And like I said, that is something that we're allowed to do. The other sections that there are the create the practice implementation plan, and then update policies is the third, and then opportunities for growth is fourth. And they have separated in that last column right there, you can see the little icons on it, and it shows how each one of the questions adds up to what we are doing, how we scored it. So using that and those different icons that they had there, that they put on there, I was able to separate all of the different questions based off of their categories. So the next one is, it says a triennial assessment report. It has them all separated, so like all of our really strong policies are together, and our strong,
The one that has a paragraph at,
yeah, it has a paragraph at the top. I can read the paragraph at the top if you would like me to, for all of them. You want me to read it?
it's up to you. If you can end up providing us a synopsis, they're kind of, if you want to read it.
It goes through each individual question. Ours was talking the things that we did really good on related to our following the smart snacks and all of the requirements for the foods that are served during the school day, and fundraisers and all that kind of good stuff. Let's see. Mostly that's most of that one was about nutrition education, also our physical education curriculum. The aligned with our national and state standards to, there we had, let's see, how many are there? 1, 2, 3. There are a bunch of those that we did. I would say the majority of ours were all in that category. So it's a bit of a longer one, but that's a good thing because that means we don't have to adjust anything with any of those. It's simple things like, do they have water during the day? Are they doing their PE like they're supposed to, like a certain amount of days and a certain amount of time? Do we have an active SHAC committee as well? That was one of the ones that was in there too. The next section that we had would be ones that we had a really good policy score, but our practice score wasn't as high. It doesn't necessarily always mean that we weren't doing what the policy said. It just means that sometimes some of the people that were answering questions didn't necessarily know that we did some of those things in the district. They don't know that some of those things are offered. And so I think some of that will be just educating everybody to know exactly what we are offering. Let's see. Because our nutrition education was
Yeah, like give us an example.
We did really good with the policy score, but then our practice score was just a 1, which means we addressed it. It just means it wasn't addressed in a manner where everybody was aware of what we were supposed to be doing. It doesn't mean they weren't doing it. It just means that maybe they just didn't understand how it was being handled at their district or other districts. Let's see.
And well, like also like FR 18, is that are you around that area? Is that kind of where you're looking at?
Yeah.
FR 18, like that one, it says, has a wellness policy been revised based on the previous triennial assessment? The policy has a 2, and for us, it's a 0. Reason we ended up putting a 0 is essentially because it's the first time that I've done it, this triennial assessment, so there's really no way to know if it was changed based off of the previous triennial assessment. So that's why we put it as a no, just trying to be transparent. So then the next time we do it, we'll end up being able to put a different score there because we'll be able to adjust it based off of what we're seeing here. The new plan is being adjusted. And so it's just some small things like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what, basically what it is. Let me see. There was another one. There weren't that many in that section.
And then I'll give you another example that like Ms. Campbell is now director of curriculum and assessment. One of the things that, and she's going to be here as we're talking about curriculum. We talk about any type of curriculum. She's going to be here, and like on FR or NE2, do all elementary school students receive sequential and comprehensive nutrition education? Of course, the policy says 2. We have it at 0, and it's really because we need and Ms. Campbell will be working on making sure that that's communicated, that we are doing it, that we're doing it in a way that parents will find out. Parents will know exactly what we're doing in the classroom. And so even though there's zeros here, it is helping us to know how to be better and to do better, because it's giving us specific targets, and from there we can get to those targets.
Our next section was the updating policies. In that section, the policy scores are not 2s, but in that section, the practice scores are 2s. So that means that we're doing the work. It's just not reflected in our policies. But our policy language right now is based off of what TASB is wanting us to put in there. So that's what we have. So it's not, we haven't been more restrictive and added more into what TASB's guidelines have for us. That's
Yeah, because
why that's
like
different.
cause we looked at ours and then we ended up looking at other districts and looking at their policies. And, you know, they're all going to be very, very similar because we all get them from TASB. And they end up, you have legal policy, and then of course there's local policies. And we ended up comparing with some districts around us, and pretty much they have everything, the exact same thing that we have. And when we looked at it, some ended up saying, because you looked at a couple triennial assessments from other districts, right?
Yes, yes.
And they ended up saying yes, and we're looking at it and saying, I think it's a no for us. But if we look at their policy, their language is exactly what ours is.
Right.
And so we're like, well, we're going to stay true to answering the question, but then the, you know, policies is, we're okay with where the policy is right now.
And some of them I didn't find it in the wellness policy, but I found it in the other policies that are referenced in the wellness policy. So I had to go back through and
Yes.
and research those so that I could find some of
Yep.
the verbiage that showed that we did have it. It just is
In a different place.
specific.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes, that was fun too.
Y'all have any questions about any of this? Like, I mean, it's,
And if you look at it, like, too,
that was kind of dry stuff, you know.
the ones that are not the high scores in the policy, they're not necessarily things that I would think would have to be in the policy, because it says, like, one of them, NES 7, in your district, is it a priority to procure locally produced foods for school meals? Well, that's not in our policy, but then we do that. So that's an example of one.
Yep.
But again, it's not in the ASB model. So that's what we're going by. Are there any other ones in that one that I could? Oh, in like PEPA, like PEPA 9 and 10, it says, what are the percentage of students do you estimate to not take PE or due to exemptions or substitutions? Because it's asking for it to be like a specific number, but we don't have that set in policy as a specific number. But as you look in our practice, it's a low amount that we have that are doing those exemptions or substitutions. And then opportunities for growth, those are ones where we had a low policy score and a low practice score. Again, that's FR 11 that we already talked about. That's the one that, about the foods and beverages and class parties. That one falls under that category because we don't have a policy on it and we don't, our practice is not to follow that. So that's basically how a lot of those were. It was things that are not guidelines that are set forth by the state. So, and that's what we would follow with our policy.
Because like what you're saying, like on FR 11, you're saying we don't have the policy that
That
restricts
it.
that,
Yeah.
right?
Ours says it's allowed.
That it's allowed.
Like, and then also the NES 11 and 12. That those two discuss what is sold. Food and beverages are sold and served after the school day ends, and so we don't have a policy for that because that's not something that's been required.
And based off of that last
We do
meeting,
it
we ended up
during.
fixing that.
we our policies are the during the school day, not the after. So that's why those
Yeah.
are scored where they're scored.
But it did help us to, you know, bringing that up, talking about it, and you know, making it fit, making it right in regards to. And Roxanne was heavily involved in that, making sure that was taken care of, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm a rule follower.
Yes, she is.
I'm a rule follower. I can't help it. It's just the way God made it.
Yeah. And like all of this, you know, it's just ultimately, you look at it, how are we keeping our kids healthy, right? What are we doing to keep our kids healthy? We do the best we can. We look at this. There's going to be some adjustments. It's like when you start talking about instruction, you have your growth plans. You end up having different plans to how are we going to implement this? How are we going to do this? At the very end of the year, you look back and think, oh, we missed this, this, and this. Okay, so the next year, how do we end up adding that, and that to what we were doing? How do we, maneuver things? What goals can we set? What, priorities? How do we prioritize things? And so, okay, so keep going. I'm sorry.
That's okay. One of the other ones we got 0 and 0 for that one was, is there an active school level wellness committee? Well, I don't believe our district is big enough yet for us to have school level wellness committees. We are growing, but
Yeah.
we're small, so that, obviously, this is what we have for a district sized wellness committee. If we tried to do individual school ones, it would, right now, it wouldn't be feasible, I don't think.
You could lead all of them. You could lead every one.
All of them. So that's just basically some of the examples for the ones that it wasn't scored high, but it was like, well, there's reasons why. It's not just because we were avoiding having the policies or the practices in place.
I have a question. Is it okay to say we're not going to do that? Like class parties, that sort of thing, to say we don't want to abide by that? Or
Right.
how does that work?
We are able to. I don't have it. I just took all the things out of my. I had it.
Right, that's what I'm wondering.
I
Is this what?
actually
Is it
had the
state
specific
or federal guideline that we have to follow? Or-
guideline. I can't think of what it's
I think that
called.
the way that it works is that it's left, they give you the option of leaving it up to the principal to be in charge of decision-making at their campus
Okay.
for classroom parties.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we don't have to abide by that.
No.
Okay.
We're doing what TASB has
Yeah.
us do, and that's like
It is
the.
allowable for
Yeah.
the principal to make the decisions, based on that, so that it's controlled and not, doesn't get out of hand, and they're
Yep.
not having, if they bring a cupcake, that's one
Right.
thing, but if they're bringing.
But all the federal rules that Roxanne ends up being in charge of, we follow all of them. Those things we have to follow them, and if we don't, well, Roxanne gets on us and, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yep. Yeah. Yes.
And I live like I said, we're being audited tomorrow.
Every year.
I've always
Yep.
done that. So I don't want to have to get ready, I want to always be ready. But I did get word that we are getting audited.
And so, and then this right here helps to be able to have all this in place for
But as far as
Roxanne.
classroom parties,
Mhm.
my remembrance is that the principal is allowed
Mhm.
to use their discretion, based on the age, because like the little ones, some of you want, as they get older, they don't
Yeah.
want mommy to do it, so it's left up to the principal.
I'm a senior and she's still good with it.
Most kids are, yes, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, again, the principal is allowed to
Mhm.
make that, and to have control over what they allow. So,
Yep.
I have the actual. I have it
Language?
in there. So I have the actual policy,
Okay.
but I don't remember.
You know what you can
It's in
do?
there
What you can
somewhere.
do,
I'll
just
look
get
for
it, get it, and then we can
It might
email
be
it.
in my
Just
It
email
might
it to.
actually be in my email from when I
Um,
was emailing y'all.
Oh, yeah. So do y'all have any questions, comments in regards to, is there anything just in general, looking at everything over the past year that you're thinking, you know what? Can we do this, or did we do this, or did we not do this? And, I know a lot of things happen just in regards to the lunchroom, but just with things that you guys have experienced. And you may not. Okay. Because this is one of those things that kind of goes under the radar. You just kind of, it's not sports, it's not, those types of things that, but we have to make sure we go through the process and make sure that we are abiding by the rules. And because if we don't follow those rules, it's tied to federal monies, we end up losing federal monies, and those types of things. So we take that part very serious and make sure, and Roxanne is a rock star in regards to that, so.
So the triennial assessment, like these ones are not federal at all, like all of
The
these are?
FR, the ones that start with FR, those are all the federal requirements.
Oh,
The rest of them are ones that they just recommend that you have
okay.
to have a
Healthy,
thorough.
you know, to have
wellness
healthy
policy.
children.
Yes.
Got it.
So, you know, any more questions about that? Okay, so then I guess then the last thing, where's the agenda? So then based off of that, what we ended up, we went back, took all this information, we looked at the current, our wellness plan to be able to determine, okay, are there any things right now that we need to change to do better at or whatnot? Again, it's a plan, it's not a policy. So this plan, later on, we start thinking, you know what, I think we want to be able to try to change something in our plan. Then we can do that as a group here. We can say, you know what, I think we want to be able to modify this or look at something, then we can do that. But based off of what we were seeing, you know, we talked about it and thought we have a pretty good plan. There's just some things that we need to communicate better about what's in our plan to the campuses to make sure that we're doing them, if that makes sense. And we'll start working on that on our end to make sure that we're communicating that everybody understands what's inside that plan. And then from there, if there are other things, then we can talk about it as a group here and then make some recommendations and decide to change it, to change the plan. If some of the changes are not in policy, then that's when we would end up wanting, as a group, coming and saying, okay, we would like to be able to make a change to policy. Then we would end up taking what we would agree here and take that to the board and say, hey, we want to be able to make this change in our policy. But right now, we're just working on the plan. I think, and you agree that you feel like is there anything that you think that's glaring?
I don't think so, not right now, that we
Okay.
need to fix or change for it.
And you know, one of the things we will continually look at this, because like when we start talking about PE and who takes care of PE in the classroom right now, and at the elementary, the pre-K and K is done by our PE teacher, right? Well, when we ended up coming over here, now we're going to have the early child or the primary school. At that point, we didn't have, up until last board meeting, we didn't have a PE teacher for the primary school. And so then the intent was, okay, are we going to have PE inside the classroom where the teacher does it? Because they can do it. They can do PE in the classroom. Or do we end up hiring a paraprofessional to be able to do the PE, or do we hire a teacher, a certified teacher, to do the PE? And that was something that was taken to the board this past month, discussed, and Dr. Chapman recommended that we end up hiring a fully certified teacher to be the PE teacher there. So now we'll have one to do that. And see, like that would be a change that would end up affecting our plan, because then if it was going to be in the classroom, right now we're potentially, it may just be different. And so we would end up having to do that. But we're very excited about that they've approved having a full-time teacher, and they'll be coaching some things, but so it ended up working out really well. So, but that's just one of the examples of something that we would end up having to look at later if that were to be different. Anything else? So is everybody good with that in regards to being able to stay with the plan? If you glance at it, is there anything that you guys think needs to be changed, or are we good for now?
Lauren's Law is what it was called for the classroom parties stuff, information.
Oh, good.
It's in the CO.
It's in what policy? CO?
Yeah. So it says a district may not adopt any rule, policy, or program under education code, blah, 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 that would prohibit a parent or grandparent of a student from providing any food product of the parents' or grandparents' choice to children in the classroom of the child on the occasion of the child's birthday or children at a school designated function. So that's the Lauren's Law that says that overrides that, for us anyway.
Yep.
So they can't use physical activity as a punishment?
Correct. And so that's a good example. Like if we end up ever seeing that, then we need to be able to come back and visit with them because it should not be used as punishment.
Maybe we can get shit.
Yeah.
We're in detail everything.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what's wrong. Sorry.
You're fine. But no, because I mean, you really do. You run into like different philosophies of how do you end up doing things, for kids. But typically, it's because you want them to get out there and move, get out there.
If my kid does something stupid, make him do push-ups. I don't care.
Yeah.
Okay? I give permission, please.
Yeah, and again, remember, PE and athletics are two different things, right? In
Oh, this
regard
is
to
talking about PE.
yeah, PE,
Okay.
or actually
in the
recess,
classroom,
right?
too.
Recess
In
and
the
those
classroom,
types of things in the classroom.
Classroom settings.
So,
I gotcha.
yes.
Okay.
So,
Take it back.
okay.
We're done.
Okay, so if we're good with that, so the next thing that we want to be able to talk about is the Catch Health Curriculum.
Yes.
Good.
So back in 2022, the SHAC committee approved CATCH program for PE and the Great Body Shop for the health curriculum for K to 5. So the Great Body, there's only 3 that are actually approved, CATCH and Great Body Shop being 2 of them. Well, the Great Body Shop costs $55 per teacher, which would be our PE teacher, and then $750 per student. And with our current enrollment at K to 5 being 702 students, with our 2 PE teachers, it's $5,375 every year. And then that cost goes up on our enrollment, which we now have an opportunity, and it's in alignment here with our physical activity goals, training for our PE teachers with a partnership with ESC2 and HEB. They are paying for the training for the CATCH program, like 2 days in the summer. And if they go, which our teachers are already signed up, they also get access to the free health curriculum. So therefore, we don't have to pay that $5,375 or more. Every year, we have access to the free curriculum, which is aligned, which is approved for 5 years. So that's the proposal to the SHAC committee, is we'd like to switch from the Great Body Shop to the CATCH health curriculum. So I'm bringing that to you guys today.
And this it would end up being something that we would end up having to vote on and say, yes, we want to be able to adopt, or recommend this. Then I would take that to the board and say that the SHAC committee looked at it. We want to be able to adopt the CATCH program, and we give them the same type of rationale, and that it is approved. It is, aligned to what needs to be, and then that they would end up approving it.
And not only that, it's vertically aligned, because we already use the CATCH PE program. So therefore, the CATCH PE and the health go hand in hand, and it's not disjointed as using, here's the Great Body Shop, and then here's CATCH, trying to migrate those two together. And then our PE teachers are getting that free training with how to use the PE and the health curriculum this summer. So vertically aligned, we get it free for 5 years, and they're getting the training on it. So.
And the little kids would get the health curriculum as well, so then we would get a better score on our
Yeah, possibly.
Yes.
Right? Yep.
Absolutely.
Because it's pre-K through They're fine. They get to use it.
And so, what's the difference? Like, what do we, is there any,
The difference is the Great Body Shop had these pamphlets that students would get. However, Catch is more of a digital program, but we can print out things, and it does have things that we can print out and send home, because I know that was part of the plan, is just communicating what we're doing to parents, right? It does have that piece, it's just not already pre-printed, it's just, we would have to print and send home. Or even keep going.
Or just
Parent
Parent Square.
Square.
Yeah, I was gonna say, or Parent Square.
Parent Square.
Yeah.
You know, so you don't
Because
have.
the kids never, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get.
Yeah, they
It
don't
would be in
bring
the
it.
backpack and just crunched up.
Because then we really wouldn't be saving that much money probably.
No,
With all the-
All the
yes.
printing.
Yeah.
that's correct.
I think that's the main difference, is it's not a physical pamphlet like Great Body Shop was. And this is more of a digital product. But it covers all the teaks, same as for the physical activity teams.
Okay. So what do y'all think?
I don't hear any
No.
negative sides of this at all.
I guess I don't know enough, but it sounds okay.
Because the state only has 3 approved programs, Catch,
Mhm.
Great Body Shop, and the other one was called like Pine Star or something like that, and that they have on their website. So we don't have a lot of options. We just have those 3.
Is there anything in the curriculum that Catch has or doesn't have that the Great Body Shop does have?
Yes, so it doesn't have, so starting in 4th grade is where the sexual education and reproductive teaks start coming in. Starting in 4th grade, the Catch doesn't have that. But I talked with our Salazar, there's like assemblies that we can have where we can have parent opt out, and we can deliver that on like a 1-day kind of assembly instead of like, here's your pamphlet to go home like Great Body Shop does with images and things like that. That is, I guess, the main difference between the two, other than the printing, the digital, and then the sex ed, which was a new teak added back in the 2022 that wasn't
Yep.
there prior. And there's
That's
always been a lot
correct.
of controversy around that and how to teach that. And then, of course, parent input and what they're learning in school. So
Yep.
So you're
this one
saying
doesn't have it.
this one doesn't have any of that except for like an opt-in program or an opt-in assembly?
It would be an
you can do?
assembly, but it wouldn't be through Catch. It would
not.
be.
It would be totally separate.
Separate.
And I've had a couple organizations reach out to me, like for the elementary, because in middle school, what do we have in middle school for that?
It is the Good Heart Wilcox Health Program, like it's a book. Like we
Yep.
have a health book curriculum that SHAC adopted in 2022. We have that for 6, and then it's 7, 8 together.
Yep. So we already have that. That's already taken care of.
It's just
And
for little
but it's for the younger.
or fast.
And I had somebody come out earlier this year, talk to me a little bit about being able to provide that for us. We can still do it ourselves at the lower grades using the curriculum, but they end up that's kind of what they do, and they've been around to numerous school districts around here, and I can get you the names of those. We ended up not doing it this year. That part with somebody coming in, but that may be something that we consider for next year. But
Fourth and fifth grade.
yes,
Not pre-K.
yep,
And it's just to kind of teach them about their changing bodies and things that are coming with puberty and things like
Mhm.
that.
And it would be an
they-
opt-in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there other
Yeah,
districts
so.
in the area using the Catch program?
Yeah, there's actually a lot, well, because we only have 3 options, so
Right.
there's actually a lot of
Yep.
districts that use Catch.
yep. So are y'all good with that? Everybody good? Anybody think, okay, no, we need to look at it? Because y'all are more than welcome to look at the curriculum, afterwards if you want to say, because it's going to take us probably next board meeting before we push it through, and you guys are welcome to come in and visit with Ms. Campbell and look at the curriculum and see what it looks like. Absolutely no hesitation there. But we feel like at this point, that's our better option. They're gonna cover the same teaks, so because that's what they're designed for. You look at the teaks, they create the curriculum to align to that, and so. But this keeps us from having to pay the 5,000 plus every year. And so,
And it's also in alignment with a lot of the House bills that are talking about like fentanyl and drug use and things
Yes.
like that. It is compliant with that as well. So it hits the TEEPs and the House bills. So that's good.
all right, so everybody good? Anybody? All right. All right, so then really at this point, this one concludes our meeting for today. And well, I guess we'll end up talking about future meetings. I'll end up sending out an email just kind of to the group and be able to talk about, okay, let's kind of see what worked this year as far as meeting times and that type of thing, and see if we can't go ahead and put some dates on the calendar for next school year. Sound good?
This is good.
Okay, perfect. All right, so then nothing else, then we are concluded. Thank you guys so much.
I like it.